Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Elite Racing League for the SMRI Productions Grand National Series here for the SMRI Productions 160 at Michigan for 80 amazing laps for race number 2 of the 2021 A season. My name is Sam Dyer, and it is an honor to be joined in the booth with Jordan Owens. And Jordan, it's my first time watching these guys in a while, but Michigan, it's a big track. We went from Daytona. Now we're here at the 2-mile course of Michigan, kind of like super speedway racing, but you got to worry more about those tires.
Yeah, I think we'll see them running pretty close for about the first 5 laps. And then after that, if we don't have anyone chunking up, we'll probably get pretty spread out. So it's, it'll be an interesting mix. It's kind of interesting having a 2.5-mile track and then a 2-mile track right behind it because it's so similar. We'll see what goes on.
It certainly is going to be interesting as qualifying is underway. All the drivers will have 3 laps to put down their fastest lap times, and they are now by themselves. Probably one of the few times they are going to be by themselves. Draft is so important as all the times ticking in for their first lap in. R.C. Enerson going to be one of the first drivers, top of the board right now. As I say that, though, Sherman going to be besting that time by 0.06 of a second. But the time's going to be switching a lot here. As we said, 3 laps are going to be for qualifying for them to put down their best time. But Jordan, here at Michigan, I mean, the tires are going to be so needed for these drivers. 80 laps. I mean, I'm wondering if fuel run, they can go halfway and do one stop. But the question is, can they do a one stop with the tires?
Yeah, I think last season in a very similar race, some drivers actually split it up into 2 stops just because you will burn the right front off here. So it'll be interesting to see. I kind of hope we have a long green flag run just so we can see some different strategies play out.
No fast repairs are going to be for these drivers, so they got to make sure that they take no damage, especially with how useful the draft is. And now it's Thomas Sherman still on top of the board as drivers are getting done with their second lap. And also another thing about tires, they've only got 3 sets in pit road to work with, so most likely it's going to be a 2-stopper just for tires, and most drivers are going to be at least trying to save a set just in case some late cautions come out and you can make some great runs there at the end.
I'll tell you what, that lap Sherman put down to beat Enerson. I mean, Sherman was quick in practice. I think he was about 14th on the charts, but he was worried about his long run pace. I talked to him earlier, so.
Yeah, I mean, 0.08 of a second is the difference between first and second at the moment. Blahman going to be in 3rd place and Lutz in 4th. Now, qualifying-wise, we do have over 43 drivers trying to qualify to make it into this race, and it is getting nitty-gritty here at the end. Only the top 43 get to move on to the featured race, and right now, looking at that bubble spot, looks like David Carpenter is there. Drivers that possibly be kicking out. Brent Jones is one of those drivers right there at that bubble stub. Oh, boy. I mean, this is going to be extremely close watching those numbers at the bottom of the screen. We still have Chris Wright to put down a time.
Yeah, Chris and Hank both were actually really quick in practice, too, so got to be a couple of drivers sweating this out.
A driver that wanted to be our in-race reporter, that was Zach Evans. He's on that close bubble spot right now, running in 42nd position. If we've got 2 really quick drivers, could knock him out. Hank Steinmiller is not inside of our top drivers, and Chris Wright able to get in 27th on the board at the moment, and that's going to be now pushing Kendall Noah Player out as well as Carpenter, and now Zach Evans going to be on that bubble spot, and no other drivers really look like they're qualifying at the moment, so I think Zach Evans made it in.
Looks like he's going to get the last spot. Start shotgun on the field. I don't even know if Hank's going to finish this last lap. Of course, he probably doesn't care. He's just glad to be in. Yep.
Yeah, excited to be in. And it's going to be Thomas Sherman, top of the board with a 39.5. Certainly had to put in the best effort, beating out R.C. Enerson by 0.08 of a second. And now we're going to be having a little bit of a break time as drivers are going to be cycling in and getting themselves situated here for a little bit of a break. And as we're waiting for the drivers to get situated, Jordan, I believe we have some commercials to thank some of our amazing sponsors that help to bring this action to you.
Yeah, we're gonna. Ursa starts their season tonight, so we'll go ahead and play an ad for them.
February 15th, 2021. Chapter 2 begins. Redemption. A new beginning. Continued success. Friendships, rivals, fights, heartbreak, sorrow, and joy. The book will write itself, page by page. We're just along for the thrill ride. From the beaches of Daytona,
Richmar Florist makes every day a special day, from weddings and large events to that little something for any occasion. Richmar Florist has the perfect floral expression, and they're open online 24/7 at richmarflorist.com. Everywhere, every day. Richmar's 2 retail locations offer a fantastic selection of floral creations, gifts, and home decor. Book your free consultation in our showroom for your special event needs, and visit us online at richmarflorist.com today. Richmar.
Well, Sam, we played the ads, but it looks like we still got a little time here before they finish this quick little 3-lap heat race for Zach to get his starting spot.
Well, as Zach is actually going to have to run a couple of laps here, let's take a let's bring in Zach into the booth here and have a talk as he is running these heat races and giving us some thoughts about Michigan, as he was one of the last drivers to qualify into this race. I mean, certainly an amazing run on his part, as we are about to be bringing him into the booth. Zach, it's Sam and Jordan up at the booth. You got us?
I have you. Do you got me?
Yeah, we got you. Zach's going to be our in-race reporter for today's race. And Zach, you're running around here at Michigan. Give me some of your thoughts. You were one of the last drivers to qualify for this race. How does it feel to be in this 80-lap race here at Michigan?
It was pretty nerve-wracking. I knew it was going to be close based on my practice speeds. And I even joked before they might have to find a backup in-race reporter, but fortunately got in 43rd fastest. Watching those last few people qualify was definitely nerve-wracking, but now it's time to get down to business and run 80 laps.
Yeah, no, Zach, it's going to be 80 laps of just fun to watch. Now, you got to do a little bit, as you're doing it right now, of solo driving, but what is the major difference between driving by yourself and driving in the draft?
Obviously, I mean, you have to account for, the impacts of the aero, not just get more speed into the corner, impacts how much, front downforce you get if you're in dirty air. There's just a lot to keep in mind when you're battling with guys, especially here, because you're going to have guys all over the track, really. So it It could definitely be a thinking man's game at times, and I'm not very smart, but we'll do the best we can.
And Jordan, you got any questions for Zach?
Zach, I think you downplay yourself. Just like you downplay your qualifying. You made it tonight, so, you know. I think you're a good shot. It's just being in the back. What do you think? It's just going to be trying to stay out of trouble for the first few laps?
Yeah, definitely. That'll be part of it, especially after last night with the Old Testament Firearms Truck Series. You know, I really disappointing. Thought we'd have a good run there and got some TV time in the second stage, but ultimately just didn't work out. Got tangled up in that wreck near the end of stage 2. So tonight we'll just try to keep it clean and be there at the end.
Well, Zach, congratulations on making it into this 80-lap race, and good luck. We'll be bringing you up if you are still alive during cautions, and good luck out there.
Awesome. Thank you.
And that was Zach Evans, our in-race reporter in the 6th mission, starting back in 43rd position, and that is going to be a long way to go, Jordan. I mean, all the way in the back, it's going to be a long day if he can find himself to get up front.
Yeah, I think the first few laps, he's going to want to make as many moves as he can just to, once they get spread out, it's so difficult to make up time here. So we'll keep an eye on him. Might have a good chance to call him up back to the booth. But for now, we're going to go ahead and give the engine call over to Jeff Green.
Hi, I'm Jeff Green, 2000 Xfinity champion. On behalf of C2 Freight Resources, gentlemen, start your engines.
All right, Sam, there we have it. The engines have been fired.
Excitement's in the air for the SMRI Productions 160. It's the second race of the season, Jordan, and, some drivers had bad luck last week trying to keep that momentum high. I think one driver, though, that's super excited to be up in the top 3, Tyler Fode, our winner from last week. He's trying to continue this on and hopefully have a winning streak. He'll be starting in 3rd place as we are going to be taking a look here at our racing grid. Jordan, let's do a quick rundown.
Yeah, we got Thomas Sherman on pole and R.C. Anderson second. That's a great pole for Sherman. He'll be tickled to death with that. Tyler Fode in 3rd and Brian Blumman in 4th. Ryan Lutz, Damian Leininger.
Ethan Burrell and Hank Steinmiller are going to be 7th and 8th, with Andrew Rucker, Nick Massey 9 and 10, Chuck Sweeney, as well as Matthew Weeks in 11th and 12th, Brandon Key and Gerald Campbell in 13th and 14th. I think Gerald Campbell, probably one of my favorites and probably a dark horse. Going to be in the middle of the pack, should be up front by the end. And then the man who just did the call, Jeff Green in 15th place, as well as you got the 34 in the rest of the field going forward.
Right.
Drivers are getting ready to go. Jordan, 80 laps. Stage will be for these drivers. No caution will be made for that stage, but at the beginning of lap 41, the top 10 drivers getting some extra points as green flag is about to be waved.
It's interesting. I figured they would be getting green on the first lap there. Doing an extra pace lap could change the strategy up with the field runs here.
Yeah, it lets you save a little bit more as these drivers are getting cycled and ready to go.
Well, actually, I think it'll hurt them since this lap's not counting at all. We have to go around. So getting to that 40 lap mark, that's your magic lap right there.
I'm going to give you the first call here as I'm having slight technology fun on my side. I will be right back in a second.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming down here in turn 3. About a quarter of a mile from getting the green flag. Now Thomas Sherman and R.C. Anderson here on the front row. I know Sherman's going to be really hoping to get off to a quick start. He can keep that lead from RC and see if he's able to distance himself in the field a little bit.
All right, I got all my stuff situated. Maybe that extra lap was to make sure that I was set up.
Okay.
As the pace truck is getting ready to come off, The SMRI Productions 160 is green and underway as Richard Sherman giving us the green flag as they're pulling away. And here's the thing, Sherman got a great start, but here in Michigan, with the way the draft is, you might not want that great of a start.
Yeah, they could actually, get together and just swallow him up on the back.
Is there still side-by-side action and going in, and
still battling a little bit.
they're able to get that situated, but here comes R.C. Enerson with the draft, with the speed, coming into corner number 3. Not able to make the move just yet, but you're seeing the driver's going to be staying in line. We're going to be seeing a lot of this, and if drivers want to be friendly, they'll stay single file for most of this run, and it's going to be helping the drivers that are behind the leader because they're able to save fuel while the leader's punching that air and really utilizing as much gas and all the gas compared to everyone else.
I couldn't agree more. It might actually benefit RC and Cody. Even if they got some pace in hand, they might actually want to just ride behind Sherman and see if they can build up a lap with 2 extra fuel.
Looking back at drivers that are still side by side, the battle for 7th place as Leninger as well as Burrell going to be side by side, and it's going to be Burrell making that. Excuse me, actually that was Andrew Rucker that was making the pass. As all these drivers single filing out, but R.C. Enerson will be making the pass and moved up to the high line. It's going to be Sherman, but here comes Tyler Fody on the inside.
I believe Fody is going to be able to steal second here. Norman might even have a shot at third. It's going to get cut off coming out of 2.
And just like that, Ryan Lutt's going to be in 4th place. Blumman's going to be just following suit. There's a lot of drivers in the middle of the pack. They're still battling around as it's almost 3 wide action back around the 20th position as our leaders are still so close to one another.
Yeah, this is where the calamity strike at any time. 3 and 4 wide going down the front stretch, back stretch. Risky moves are being made back here.
Ryan Lutz has been able to get side by side with Richard Sherman. Sherman going to be just lingering and staying there, but with the potential of trying to make a pass, you're kind of at that mercy of the driver above you. If they give you enough room, you can get back onto the throttle and make a pass, and if you're not able to confirm that pass, you're really going to bog down, hurt yourself on the straightaway, and that's what happened to Lutz. Blauman able to make the pass and moving up to 4th.
Yeah, that was a great move by Blauman. And you can see it in the back, too. It's the reason we're seeing such crazy moves in mid-pack is because they know they've got to go now. The still gets spread out. It is so difficult to make a pass for all the reasons he stated.
Everyone's still staying pretty single file until you drop back for the battle that's going for 7th place. This is Chuck Sweeney on the inside of that 75 machine trying to get by Andrew Rucker in the 64. As well in front of them, Ryan Lutz thought, actually that's going to be Ethan Burrell trying to make a pass in that 37 machine.
He's moving up quietly. I believe he started 7th, so yeah, he's already picked up 1 spot, going for 2.
Now we're 2 by 2, 5th place back to 8th. It looks like both of them have been able to sort out their positioning.
Yeah, Rucker's one of the most difficult people to pass, so it doesn't surprise me at all that he fought back on Sweden.
Yeah, Rucker's also one of those drivers I think we've had a disconnect for one of our drivers, Scott Crump. Issues for the 90 machine. He's disconnected and has been gone for 2 laps now.
That's really disappointing to hear for Scott. He's been having a lot of internet issues throughout all speed leads here with the leads. Looks like that's still continuing.
Let's see if we can get back onto the racing surface. But R.C. Enerson, he's found his speed as he's about a half a second ahead of Tyler Fody and able to continue to gap that 40 machine. And now Fody trying to move away from Sherman, and this is where that tire wear starts to be a factor. How well have you been conserving your tires, and how aggressive are you going to be in these first 10 laps?
Yeah, you can see here just by looking at our top 5, everyone's getting spread out for the most part. I know Sherman and Lutz are pretty tight, but that right there just shows, people that's been more aggressive at the start of this run, and it could potentially hurt their right front just a little bit more. it could come back to hurt them in the later parts of this run, especially if we don't catch a caution.
Something I saw coming out of 4, and that's Ryan Lutz getting extremely close to that outside wall. Talking to some of the drivers, they talked how the setup is very loose at the start, which gives you a chance to run in the middle, but then tightens up a lot more as the laps tick away. So that outside wall coming out of 4 could be a position where we see drivers just smacking that wall throughout the rest of the field.
Yeah, I saw people smacking it with the right front, and then early in runs when they were doing 2 laps, they were actually getting loose coming out of 4. So it's a little tricky. I mean, the car acts so differently at the beginning as opposed to at the end of the run.
And now Fode going to be ran down as Ryan Lutz, as well as Sherman, able to pull one another along and now get up to the 40 machine. And now it's the question of, are they conserving at their tires for the 40 of Fode, or are we seeing Ryan Lutz and Sherman just deciding it's time to go now?
Yeah, I believe Fode might be saving a little tire. He's just keeping a nice, comfortable distance between himself and Lutz. My main concern would be with Sherman. He's already fell back a little bit. It would be really easy for him to get impatient and try and push a little too hard here.
Looking at drivers that are having extremely rough days so far. Tyler Riggs in the 26 machine started in 17th place, has dropped all the way back to 30th. This PRC driver was hoping for a better day, but I know he didn't get that much practice with this setup, so might be an issue of just not feeling the car is comfortable, as well as he's blinking just slightly on my end, so could be also another thing of internet issues.
Yeah, it could be blinking on mine as well. I would point out another driver that was really quick in practice here was Josh Clark, and he just had a terrible qualifying lap. He was dead for 6 in practice. Stuck back here mired in traffic. We may never find out what pace he actually has.
As we are on lap 11, about to be lap 12. You're here watching amazing racing action on the Elite Racing Network for the SMRI Productions Grand National Series for the SMRI Productions 160 at Michigan. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Jordan Owens. Jordan, watching some of these drivers and the way they've been running, Ethan Burrell slowly but methodically has been marching his way into our top 5. He's been able to get by Blahman, now trying to get by Sherman.
Yeah, and Burrell, he's very experienced with this. He's one of those drivers that takes care of his tires for fun and runs. So no surprise there.
As I continue to look around, Enerson's lead, it is gone. It was a half a second, now less than 3/10, almost less than 2/10 for his second there. And everyone's now just grouping back up to one another. Do want to give an update. Scott Cram has been able to log back into the server, but right now 7 laps down, so needing a lot more cautions. And this is one of the things that Michigan can bring, is the potential of drivers feeling like, hey, it's going to be a wreck fest or it's going to be a long run race. And for Scott, it obviously is not the day that he wanted. And it's just the way that these drivers are running right now, I'm not seeing any potential of a wreck happening anytime soon.
No, they've been very calm, cool, and collected so far. Very courteous, especially for the first couple of laps where, that's your best chance to make a move. So, it's like we talked in the pre-race. It's one of those deals where it could be a long green run or it could go and junk it in the first turn. So, we'll just have to wait and see, especially once this run plays out and make it in the green flag pit stops. It's the next big worry for some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, watching these drivers right now, I think for Enerson, as you're seeing Tyler Fode for the lead on the inside, trying to make the pass, Ryan Lutz trying to follow suit. It's just the fact of running a little bit too low. You can see those grooves that are making defined lines of the inside, second groove, third, and fourth, and moving on up. There's plenty of space on this racetrack as Tyler Fode able to lead that lap and now will be in the lead. You're seeing that the drivers that are running a little bit lower early on, around that second groove, they are losing their tires extremely quick. The drivers that are running in that third groove, they've been able to now make the charge that you're seeing right now and able to really compact where everyone's at, and great runs for everyone here. A surprise to see up in our top 7, and now in this front pack, you could say that is Hank Steinmiller in the 63.
Yeah, and you know, everything you just talked about with tires. When we first talked about him earlier, second and a half separated the top 5. Now it basically covers the top 10. So I think some of these guys might have got off to too hot of a start. Now we're seeing them compact and come back together. So could create the perfect storm here. Well, some great racing.
Great racing, or the potential of a wreck, as Ryan Lutz is just almost grazing RC Enerson there. And then also behind them, you find yourself with Blahman and Steinmiller almost wrecking one another for a second, as Blahman looks like he is ready to go. Everyone is just, they're getting so compact, and it is getting a little nerve-wracking for a front 7, let alone looking through the rest of the field. They're all pretty single-filed up besides our front pack.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if some drivers can actually, you know, claw in and get a part of this, like Rucker back there. I believe Rucker and Heineger, you know, some of those guys, if they can claw in here and join this fray.
Just looking through the rest of the field, a lot of drivers staying where they're at, but still great battles up front. This is probably the best action for second place. Yeah. RC Enerson, Ryan Lutz. You love to see this type of racing where they are this close and just able to get the same feel of kind of realistic racing where they can be this close. But the virtual side of things, if you're this close, the potential of netcode wrecks is very high when you're this close racing to one another for this long.
Extremely high. Yeah, I mean, everything you just said, they were at 194 at the end of the straightaway, got down to barely 155, and neck still. Yeah, it's impressive to watch.
Ethan Burrell going to give a little bit of a bump there to Ryan Lutz, trying to bump draft down the backstretch, and that's your best time to try to give someone a bump. Also, another thing that really isn't talked about that much is Michigan. I mean, we're on the newer Michigan, so it's not as bumpy, but Michigan can be quite bumpy in these corners if you are not watching out for yourself, and certainly can put you in a precarious situation if you're so close to someone and you hit a bump just right.
Yeah, it's especially when you get on the low lane like that. I think that's why a lot of the guys have started to move a little up, you know, the second, and even in Anderson's case, you can make an argument he's been running the third lane a little bit. So, you know, it's just all about trying to find where the car is the fastest at a given time.
And now we're starting to see what was a front pack that had over a second gap lead from about 6th back to 7th. It is now gone. We are about to see a lot of pack racing here soon, as now Thomas Sherman is able to get back to our top 7 now within striking distance. And now you can also throw in Damian Langer involved in this. Andrew Rucker has dropped back a couple of positions, about 3 so far, since the last time we talked about the 64 machine, but still in this front pack at the moment. But certainly these drivers...
Pack, so it'd be interesting to see. He's one of those guys that does not care to get up there and tangle with people. So.
Oh, Blahman is close. They're rubbing a little bit, I think, as they were almost contact between RC Enerson and Brian Blahman.
Yeah, he had that right rear hanging out, too. That was pretty good driving by both to be that close and not have any contact. Like you said, netcode is such a big possibility in situations like this, too.
Oh, it's just... Brian's got to be careful. I mean, Blahman is so close to Enerson there, and Enerson's just got to... His heart rate's got to be skyrocketed. That's the 3rd driver in a row that has ran him this hard and continuously will be running him this hard. It's Steinmiller now going to be bump drafting, and just like that, Sherman going to be ducking under Steinmiller in the 63. Now they'll be
going to be licking his chops there, but Sherman pulled a quick move on him in the turn.
Yeah, I mean, if you got the momentum, if you're willing to use it immediately, that's what we saw there from Sherman. Well, Steinmiller went with the more conservative thoughts of, I'll just stay behind Blahman and push this 29 machine.
You know, I find it interesting that second on back to now about Nance have been battling for 5 or 6 laps, and Tyler Bodie really hasn't been able to pull away any.
No, I think the most that he's pulled away was maybe 4/10 at most, which is about 5 car lengths, and that's about it. And then he gets pulled right back in. So we're seeing drivers that have the confidence to try to push and be aggressive, but it's not lasting very long. Maybe only for about 5 to 8 laps you can be leading before you see yourself just lingering back and falling back to the clutches of the drivers in second and third place.
Hey, I'm wondering if maybe he was taking that time just to take it a little easier in the turn, get back in the corner and save that right run. So, yeah, you know, I think last year he actually was one of those guys that did it if someone stopped. So, we'll see.
Drivers that are really on the move and have been doing a great job trying to crack the top 10. Chris Wright in this 69 machine started back in 19th place, up to 11th at the moment, but certainly a great run for the 69 car that is slowly catching up to this major front pack that we've been having for a while now.
Yeah, all of this battling up front has allowed him to really transform his race and having, you know, the potential to battle for a top 5 spot here as soon as we keep going after it. So, you know, he's got to be loving what he's seeing right now.
Oh, extremely loving this. And right now, another factor we got to talk about is tires and fuel. Fuel runs. We were talking to some of the drivers. Solo-wise, if you're just driving by yourself, about 41 laps. But with the utilization of using the draft, a lot of these drivers might be able to push it to about 43 laps. So lap 40 to 43 is the window we're looking for if we stay green for pit stops for these drivers. And that kind of complicates things because the end of the stage is at the beginning of lap 41, right when that pit zone starts.
Yeah, and you know, you're going to have drivers that are gambling on getting some stage points but could actually compromise the second half of the race. So it's a fine little line there you're gambling with. Do you take a chance at getting a few points early, or do you try and set yourself up for a great finish?
Great finish, I think, based on what we're seeing right now, is poised to happen. But we got to give a huge thanks to some of our sponsors that we have, especially for today's sponsor and the whole entire series sponsor, SMRI Productions. They are a great SMR Productions is an independent recording label and media company that exists at the intersection of creation, media, and technology. Their focus is developed on digital content with organic media for all of your digital needs. They are also providing multiple avenues for content consumptions, making sure that you are always in control. As a content provider, SMRI offers a unique of ever-growing catalogs to fit your needs and also your bespoke media desires. So go check out SMRI Productions, and thank you SMR Productions for sponsoring the series of the Grand National Series, and also for today's race. As you're seeing the pass for the lead, Ryan Lutz to the inside, and finally, I talked about it, every about 5 to 8 laps, it's been about 8 laps for Tyler Fode, and they'll be losing the lead.
Yep, you called it. We're going to keep going side to side down the backstretch here. Try and get a better view of this going on the TV.
Is Ryan Lutz. I mean, I'm surprised. I don't know how Lutz still has the grip to even be up front with how aggressive he's been. Just has been really hard racing with Fode at times, then was also hard racing with RC Enerson. But I talked about how Hank Steinmiller, he was back in 9th place. He's now up to 4th, trying to catch up to our front 3 that we're seeing this battle side by side. Crossover move by Fode. Now he's on the inside. How much grip does the 40 have? And honestly, Ethan Burrell's just licking his chops because both these drivers are racing so aggressively.
Yeah, Burrell's, that's what I was about to say. He's quietly just picked his way up from 7th. He's just been waiting on these guys to start battling and make his own moves. And you're right, Hank, he's doing great too. So Hank started right behind Burrell. So yeah, they both just quietly been making themselves be a part of this front pack. You know, fight for the lead.
Enerson also dropped back to around 7th place for a moment, but now back up to 5th place following Hank Steinmiller. And here comes Ethan Burrell. We've been talking about this 37 has the chance to get up to the lead and to the inside of Tyler Fode as they're coming out of 2.
They're going to battle down the backstretch and see who takes it this in the 3. It looks like Ryan Lutz might actually have the other
3 wide.
3 wide.
And now it's going to be Tyler Fode. He's going to be stuck on the outside. Going to just back out of it. giving Ethan Burrell the lead, and now they're still side by side for second place as Ryan Lutz was not able to carry that momentum, and now here's Hank Steinmiller and R.C. Enerson.
Yeah, I think smarter heads prevailed. They'd rather be around for lap 80 instead of junk on lap 30, so that was probably a good idea to back out of that. That was a really good move by Fody.
I want to check out the rest of the field and talk about some of these other competitors, but our leaders just cannot stop passing back and forth and constant amazing action. And Fody, once again, as Rucker spins out of the back, coming out of 2, we've got our first caution potentially, and it is a complete garbage stack up in the back. The 13 involved, as well as Rucker, who was the initial catalyst of this wreck. And man, our leaders right now taking a breath because they knew it was getting chaotic up front, but it was around that 10th place position where this carnage started.
Yeah, we're going to back up here and see if we can get a good look at what happened.
I'm going to take a Stay Tuned Sports podcast replay here. And Jordan, you got the call. I mean, this is wild racing in this replay.
Yeah, it looks like Rucker and Marcus I can't not pronounce
Frickenik.
Yeah, Frickenik. I really can't pronounce his name. They're side by side here. We'll go ahead and give the play. Let's see what happens. It looks like he got loose and he got clipped, is what I can tell. Yeah, he got loose in Rucker.
I mean, they were side by side.
Yeah, you can see Joe Campbell. He took a rough hit too.
Yeah,
watch right here. He is legitimately the first driver to get to them sideways and had nowhere to go. Neither did Tooker. Both of those guys, 34 car. Well, they got
Tooker's trying to get confirmation on how damaged his car is because of the concern of that contact. Yeah, that was just. I mean, that's the tightness that we were talking about of the drivers, and yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of net code involved in that one as well. I mean, looking from a blimp view of that incident, but man, that's just a lot of drivers trying to keep as clean as possible. But for our leaders, I think they love this caution because now they can get fresh rubber and they don't have to worry about the heavy racing that they were doing and take a little bit of a breather from all that hard racing.
You know what's going to be interesting, though, is now they're guaranteed to all have to stop.
Yeah, looking at the times, though, this is now, if we go green to the end, ooh, yeah, one more stop, and the potential of drivers trying to short pit is there.
People could actually split this up into, even segments to potentially, have the quickest pace with their tires, or they could just try and drive it as far as they can and take a quick dash for, a couple gallons, come back out and see what they think after. Really opens up a lot of strategy for all of these drivers to make. And quick note, looks like Ethan Reasoner's stayed out to get himself a lap led.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad call. Get some bonus points. This is what's helped Reasoner so many seasons, time after time. It's these little bonus points of trying to lead a lap.
Yeah.
As the 86 pulls it into pit road, and so does our in-race reporter. We're actually going to take a quick talk with our in-race reporter of the 6 of Zach Evans, as we're going to get Evans up into the booth for here. Here we go. Zach, it's Sam and Jordan up in the booth. You got us?
I gotcha.
Well, you got a race 30 laps green. I know you were in the back half of the field. But how was that racing here in Michigan?
It went pretty well. The first part of that run was able to really save my tires a decent amount, just riding around behind everybody, and picked off some cars there as the run went along. So feeling pretty good going through the second half of the race, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, looking like at the math, it's probably going to be one more pit stop if we stay green to the end. Tires-wise, you only have 3 tires to work with in pit road. Are you concerned at all with tires from this point on?
I'm not sure how it's going to play out, honestly. If it stays pretty clean, it should be fine. We might even leave a set, honestly. But if it gets wrecky, then we'll have to figure out how that's going to play out.
Well, we're about to go green, Zach, but it was nice getting to talk to you, and good luck for the here moving forward.
Thank you.
As we're getting ready to go green here, Jordan, I mean, 30 laps green. What were some of your thoughts there?
Well, it looks like we're in for a heck of a show. I don't think anyone was able to get away from each other there. Really brought together top 10. Cody and Lutz working together on Zero here to get a good start. You know, if they stay together like this, I think we can really expect it to come down to the green flag pit stop, maybe being the main factor.
Yeah, we talked about some drivers that were looking fast during that little stint, but pit road costing some drivers some positions. Hank Steinmiller losing a lot of positions back to 15th place. And this is giving an opportunity for others to be making their charge forward. Chris Wright, I gave a talk how he was up to 11th, now up to 8th. As up front, the battle for the lead, Ryan Lutz, Tyler Vody, and also Ethan Burrell. It's right back on where we left it.
Yeah, I think another driver we could talk about here that's quietly worked his way up is Matthew Weeks as well. You know, he's a Elite Racing League's Daytona 500 winner, so he knows a thing or two about going fast.
Yeah, and here at Michigan, it's kind of like a super speedway with the fact that the draft is so important, but a little bit more of a challenge due to the tire factor. That's not really a factor at Talladega or at Daytona. But, I mean, right now, great runs for Matthew Week in 7th place with Chris Wright. And talked about how the front 7, they just pull away. They did it once again. And this is looking almost same exact thing that we saw back when we started the race of drivers pulling away and coming right back.
Yeah, and looks like we're seeing more of the same. Just with some faces up here. Chuck Sweeting made it up to 6th. You know, he started in 11th and ran basically from 11th to 15th that entire first stint. And, you know, also, Sam, I think it'd be interesting to see what RC and Thomas do here. Since they have fresh tires now, and maybe they're going to conserve more at the front part of this stint, be a bigger player here in the second half of it.
Yeah, I mean, one of those drivers potentially. I mean, looking at some of the drivers that have been making some big moves. I mean, Chad Frankenfield is one of those drivers just cracked into the top 10. I was outside of it for most of that first stint, but this half, I mean, I'm trying to look and see who could be that shuffle. I mean, Matthew Weeks and Chris Wright, they're one of our biggest movers so far. Drivers that got knocked out of our top 10. I mean, Hank Steinmiller's one of them. Also, Brian Vlamen out of our top 10, but still trying to march in up front.
Chad and Vincent just got together and kept it going.
Yeah, Vincent's another one of those drivers we haven't really talked about in our top 10. Vincent Isabella in the 25 machine, rocking the 2 scheme.
And he has really probably been the hardest charger so far, starting all the way back.
Oh boy. He's right there at the quarter panel. That's one of the danger zones. You don't want to be right lined up that way with the driver. Could possibly spin him out if you make any contact.
Yeah, and Chad just got into him here in turn 3, so you know he's frustrated once you get back behind.
Vincent Isabella going to be going all the way down to the apron practically, and you know that's one of those spots where you are right on the edge of being wicked loose and spinning out, and also just getting a major pass. And you saw there worked out for the 25 machine, but we'll see if he wants if Chad Frankenfield's okay with that pass. Most likely we'll try to challenge back.
Yeah, you can get away with that stuff on fresh tires, but you also are burning them up that much quicker, so it could come back to haunt him a little bit. But we got Damian Leiniger and Hank, and hey, Josh Clark has made a nice little move to the front. Right on the pit stop.
Chad Thurquicks is going to be also in that 92 machine in 15th. So a lot of drivers. Oh my goodness! I thought for a second, Leiniger, Clark, and Steinmiller. That's a very precarious spot to put themselves in, but they were able to survive and keep moving forward.
Clark is
Tyler
sticking his nose in there.
Oh, he is trying so hard. Also, other drivers behind these guys. Tyler Riggs talked about how he dropped all the way back to 30th place. He's up to 17th. after all that carnage, picking up some of those positions.
Yeah, he's following his teammate, Caleb Thompson. Had quiet night so far. You know, Caleb, he's a net gain right now, so they got teammates all together. Josh Robbins, their other teammate, back here, not team. He's had a pretty quiet night. Started in 30th. So, you know, slowly but surely edging his way towards the front.
Yeah, and it's still a long race. We just got to the halfway marker. We actually just got to that lap 41 in our top 10. Chad Frankenfield in 10th place. Vincent Isabella, Chris Wright, Weeks, Sherman, Sweeting, Enerson, Burrell, Fody, and Ryan Lutz going to be getting those bonus points.
Yeah, you can see the top 10 there. We go back to the battle around 20th. Theo Campbell actually received some damage from that wreck. I thought he would not be able to keep up, but he's done a pretty good job. I mean, he's in 21st. Of course, that's not great, but I was afraid he'd get engine damage and not even be able to take the pass.
Yeah, able to slow up just enough. Also, we're going to be bringing it back up front for the battle for third place as Ethan Burrell, Tyler Fody, they're side by side, as well as Chuck Sweeting and R.C. Enerson. This is a battle between second back to fifth place. And the driver just watching this, that's going to be Thomas Sherman, who's loving all this racing action because it means that they're burning the rubber more, which is going to give him an opportunity to this 23 if he's been saving.
Yeah, this top 6 is funny. We spend 10 laps going back and talking about everyone else, and we come back and they're still the same as they were before.
Yeah, they certainly are just keeping it civil up front for these drivers. And now we're starting to see that Chris Wright and Matthew Weeks, they've caught up to our front 6. And now making it a little bit more interesting with now 8 drivers in line. But this is around that similar spot of about 10 laps into a run when everyone starts to group back up with one another. But I'm expecting us just to have our top 8 be the only 8 as 9th on back. They're about a second and a half away from 8th place of Chris Wright. And they are having their own little battle here that is slowing them down from catching up to our front 8.
Go back to Chris here. Maybe.
Maybe for a second. Battle for the lead now underway as Ethan Burrell now going to be making it side by side and to the inside, making the pass through corner number 3. Still there and finally going to be clear for the lead.
He's been waiting all night for his chance to get out front and see if he can maybe gap the field a little bit. But Lutz is going to have none of it coming back on the inside here going into turn 1.
And it's that crossover move that we've been just seeing time after time. You make the pass, you lose your momentum, and the driver that's behind you, they then get the draft in that burst of speed that the draft gives you to then make the pass in the crossover move, and they're just going to continue duking it back and forth, which is going to be wearing their tires out even more if they're side by side going through the corners. If you're able to make the pass cleanly on the straightaway, it works out for both drivers.
Yeah, it's interesting how much time drivers have spent side by side tonight, and the drivers behind them haven't been able to catch up and slingshot them or set them up. I thought it would be a greater advantage to be in the draft tonight, but it seems to kind of equalize out and just really providing great racing.
It really has been great racing, and I do want to give another shout out to some of our other sponsors. We've got ourselves, some of these sponsors are massive, big, help us out so much. C2 Freights, Richmar Flores, as well as last week's big sponsor, Hope Giver International, and then also for our replays, the Stay Tuned Racing Podcast. Thank you so much for all of those that help us week in and week out to make sure that you guys get to see the best show out there on iRacing.
Yeah, we really do have some great partners that allow all of us to do the thing we love the most, which is, be able to get on this virtual track together and turn some hot laps.
Dropping back down to 11th place, 10th and 11th place. That's where we're seeing a lot of side-by-side action as our front runners are keeping it pretty civil at the moment.
I think that was Turnquist back there. He got a little loose out of two, but he kept it under control.
Yeah, Turnquist, certainly, coming out of turn 2 seems to be one of the danger zones if you're going to get loose, and out of 4 seems to be where The drivers get extremely close to that outside wall. Looks like they also get a little bit tight at times, and that back end just wants to kick out if they try to put a little bit too much throttle on exit.
Yeah, and I noticed it looks like Tyler Riggs is still having some issues getting in and out a little bit, so hopefully we don't lose another driver to internet.
Yeah, I mean, internet issues have been kind of wandering over a lot of these drivers. As once again, battle for the lead. So Ryan Lutz trying the inside lane, might have that momentum to carry off of corner number 4. But there's been a lot of storms. It's the winter time, and so a lot of snowstorms been kicking in, taking out some internet and power poles for people. Some people going out of the power, and others just losing their internet. So, understandably, that it is awful to see for some of these people to lose their power for racing action, but understand that it is a long season. They can still come back even with issues.
Yeah, you're right. We can hear it. Ethan and Ryan, they've just traded the lead back and forth for about the past 5 or 6 laps. It's fun to watch.
Certainly has given us a bit of joy to see, but honestly, with them swapping back and forth, it's at least helping them a little bit due to the fact that one driver is leading for a straightaway, then they swap it for another driver is leading a straightaway or a lap. So at least they're not completely using up all their gas, saving a little bit with the draft. It's the drivers behind them that are just loving all of this side-by-side racing.
Yeah, back here we have we got Matthew Weeks under Thomas Sherman right now. I was going to comment also, Chuck Sweeting's highest truck he's been on, number 4. Looks like Weeks is going to draw back into line here.
Yeah, we saw Fody really challenging for those first 10 laps of this run, and for the past about 8-9 laps, really has not been trying to put any type of a pressure for our front two. Kind of just been waiting, but it looks like there might be an issue, or actually drivers were right inside that window of drivers being able to make it to the end. That is going to be Chad Frankenfield coming to the pits, as well as Brian Blomans coming to the pits.
Yeah, you know, this might be their strategy opportunity to try and gain back some of the track, well, in Blomans' case, track position, give Chad a way to actually gain something he never had. So we'll have to watch them closely, as well as, you know, to see what other drivers are going to do now, if they're going to react.
I think that it's better just to stay out there, stay with your game plan, maybe try to split this in half, go another, probably another 10 laps or so then you can get fresher tires than those drivers that are going to be short pitting, because they're going to have that advantage, though, for probably about 8 laps, but then it's going to fall off and start to equal out on the lap times, and then once the drivers that have been out for a little bit longer, they're going to be able to gain all that time back. Brandon King now going to be coming to Brandon Key, in the 45 machine into the pits as well.
Yeah, and he's another driver that's kind of, you know, had a little bit of a struggle tonight. Started 13th, and he hadn't really been anywhere, you know, higher than that position tonight. So it's a good strategy call. I don't blame anybody for trying it if you're 15th on back.
Thurquest as well now going to be coming to the pits. So, that window opened up, and now you're starting to see, you talked about, is this going to trigger other drivers to come into the pits? It certainly has. 2 drivers have now come in, of Thurquest and Key. And now it's the question, all these drivers that have been coming in, it's about 15th on back where they've been thinking about making that slight change and try to get any type of advantage as possible. But man, this is so interesting to see that we're not seeing more drivers coming in with at least another driver to try to utilize the draft. We've been seeing a couple of drivers going by themselves.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, this front pack, they've been battling so much all night. They're probably not even aware. You know, even in their team chats, most of them are up here together. Like, it's really difficult to keep up with everyone when you're up here having to battle with 5 or 6 other guys the entire race.
Jared Rexing now going to be coming in with the 10 machine. Going to be in 34th position.
Yeah, kind of surprised Jared's, he's normally one of those guys up front we talk about often. Really heard anything of him tonight. Well, there goes Chad Frankenfield, just showing what fresh tires can do for him.
Yeah.
Blow these guys on the turn.
It's incredible how much faster you can be with fresh tires. I mean, I'm going to take a quick look. I mean, Frankenfield right now trying to get by all of this all of the leaders at the moment, and he's running 40.4 seconds utilizing the draft and trying to get by our leaders. And our leaders right now, utilizing the draft, racing as hard as they are, they're running almost a second slower than what Frankenfield's running right now.
Yeah, I'm showing 41 threes, 41 twos. So,
blistering pace.
You know, and honestly, if Chad gets his lap back and something happens, he has the potential he could end up front with the lead. Of course.
Caution!
Yeah.
Scott Haney in the 3 machine, going to be spun around coming out of 4. And oh no, our in-race reporter also involved in this thing.
We'll go back here and take a look at it.
It looks like Nathan Bird, as well as Scott Haney, running extremely hard with one another. And contact out of 4 between the 3 and the 05. And the 6 nowhere to go, losing the hood and front bumper. Nathan Bird, though, with all that contact, might have gotten enscathed away with, yes, damage, but not as much as we thought it could be.
Now I'm trying to find Zach to see if we can get a look from his onboard.
As we are
Bring the
finding
app down for now.
As we're still looking for the Stay Tuned Sports podcast replay. This was certainly a caution that changes a lot of things up for drivers that had just pitted, because now they're going to be at a major disadvantage now moving forward.
Yeah, for some odd reason, iRacing's having like glitches where it's linking people in and out, and it's not allowing me to go back and actually show a replay of the wreck.
That's fun. I could do a sports commentating on it. I mean, it was both. We had Scott Haney that was on the outside for his 3 machine. Then you also had the 05 of Nathan Bird. And they both entered turn number 3 side by side. Coming out of 4, Bird kind of drifted up a little bit. Contact with both drivers. They went into the outside wall. When they came bouncing back to the inside, that's when Zach Evans had nowhere to go, and the 6 ran into the 05. All 3 drivers, major damage that they're going to have to try to get repaired, as now pit road underway and very busy.
There we go. I was going to say, if you just close your eyes on this picture, it like made the call there. So,
as now looking at the drivers that are coming into the pits, no one's staying out like we saw Ethan Reasoner do before, but expecting some drivers to do the wave around that were a lap down after pitting. So we'll keep our eyes out on those drivers that are going for the wave around. I do believe that Chad Frankenfield was able to be ahead of everyone else, but I could be wrong on that call. I think Frankenfield might be our lucky dog driver.
yeah, I think he is getting the lucky dog because he hadn't gotten by Bureau yet. So, I don't know if we want to chalk it up as net gain or net loss, really. It was kind of...
I think it's a
shot.
lot.
It's a loss,
Yeah.
but it was worth a shot. He'll still be able to come down and get fresh tires again.
Yeah, I mean, the first run that we had, it went for about 30 laps. This time it went a little bit shorter than that. But I think right now, Frankfield and the rest of the crew that pitted early, they were thinking, hey, there's a chance this could go green. We saw a long green flag run. It was just a fluky incident that happened, and it happened again. So you hate to see it, but issues for those drivers that were involved is Bird still trying to get repairs done in the 05. Still looking to see if anyone else is also trying to get repairs done. It looks like it's just Bird left in pit road. Scott Crump still having internet issues, has been blinking in and out of session, still 34 laps down. Andrew Rucker has come into the pits a couple of times trying to get repairs done. Just not able to get them done completely.
So there goes the waves rounds. We'll go ahead and double up.
And as we're waiting for all the drivers to take their waiver rounds here, we'll talk more about some of the amazing sponsors we have. We talked about C2 Freights. Well, Let's go in depth with C2 Freights. Their services are amazing. They are a complete freight management service. They are ready to meet your needs today as well as your changes needed in the future. With thousands of qualified carriers in their database, they are capable of handling shipping for every type of goods, from anywhere from perishable goods to office supplies, whatever you need to ship. They have the access and the necessary equipment to include all of your needs. Amazing freight work from C2 Freights.
And now we come back to the drivers about the time forward here. Real and Ron Lutz, middle down.
Well, we've got the stage out of the way. We know who's going to get those 10 bonus points. We are now in the part of the race where we don't need to pit. If we go green, these drivers are good to make it to the end. So, Jordan, it's time to make some of those calls. Who do you got that might be able to win this thing?
Well, being a short run, I'd be interested to see if R.C. Anderson can get back up towards the front. He seemed very quick on a short run earlier this race. Now that he knows he doesn't have the same tire as much, you know, we'll see what happens. Matthew Weeks is also the highest up he's been on time, so keep an eye on him as well.
R.C. Enerson going to be now in third place, and dropping back is going to be Tyler Fody now in the clutches of Matthew Weeks. Weeks is going to be on the outside trying to push this 11 machine even further. And behind them, Thomas Sherman, driver we haven't really talked about that much in the 23 machine, our pole sitter, running in 7th place, trying to get up into 6th. But this is our final push to the end. 20 laps to go, as right now Ethan Burrell up front. But we've talked about how every about 5 to 8 laps it seems like the driver that is leading this race seems to drop back and fall back, so you might not want to be the driver leading when it comes to about 10 to 8 laps to go.
Yeah, I would say it's going to be interesting to see if how long Burrell can actually keep that lead, given how many times we've seen it swap places, like you said, between that 6 and 8 lap mark. It might be in your best interest to be in second place coming towards 2 or 3 to go.
Ryan Lutz is going to be in such a spot that's, he's trying to work on that outside, but R.C. Enerson powering through. Chuck Sweeting, another driver that is trying to make an amazing play here. Usually Chuck Sweeting is one of those drivers that I throw in as when fuel mileage is always a quality to look out for. He's one of those drivers that can just really carry it further, and also probably one of my favorite drivers to watch to save tires. And this is where we're seeing that 75 machine succeed and really have a good run as up to 3rd place.
Yeah, and R.C. was pushing big off 2 that last time, allowed Chuck to get up there to 3rd. Once again, this is the highest he's been all night. We'll have to see what he has to be a part of the sleeping play here.
As right now, just sitting up front is Ethan Burrell. Ryan Lutz trying to make a move, gonna go up to the inside, to the outside, holding off. As they are running strong right now.
Yeah, these guys know they don't have to save as much, so they're just letting it all hang out.
As right now, Ethan Burrell still fighting.
Yeah.
Still fighting so strong for that position.
It's allowing Chuck and RC to just stay right there, kind of in their graph, and not really push their equipment as much as everyone else. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of move Chuck wants to make here. He's sinking pretty wide. He's doing it.
He's going for it. He's going to send it on the inside. Chuck Sweeting, he's going to be trying that a little bit lower, but he just doesn't have the momentum. Decided otherwise. Then I think he was thinking 3 wide. If possibly the other 2 moved up a lane, maybe then he would have sent it, but did not want to be on that first lane all the way down the yellow line. So saving those tires instead of trying to make the pass for the lead.
Yeah, the one thing he did do was finally make the real clear, Lutz there. So now I know he ended up just losing the spot to RC, but now they can kind of move on and see if they can get up here and challenge these 2 guys out there not side by side.
And watching these drivers right now, certainly expected to put on a great show. Driver that is in the top 10 has been there for a little bit. Hank Steinmiller in 9th place. We saw the 63 machine battling for 5th place. earlier on in this race. We'll see if he's got the speed to cut his way through this traffic, as they're still seeing side-by-side racing for that 4th position. Matthew Weeks on the inside of Tyler Fode.
Yeah, Matthew's been chomping at the bit here since he's got to the holding on. We'll see if he's been able to save a little more tire than these guys and can make it work for him. You got Fode off too there. Fode's
just keep
pushing
on.
him down the backstretch.
They are really pushing this thing. 15 laps to go, about to be 14 laps to go when they cross the line. You're running out of time if you're further back in the field. If you're around 20th place, you might not have enough time to march your way up to the front. If you're around 15th, your window is slimming every single lap in. If you're into top 10, if you're around Damian Langer as well as Josh Robin, Joseph Kazi, you got to make your move now. You're running out of time to be up front.
Yeah, and for some of those guys, it's the highest up they've been all night. It makes you wonder if they maybe, if they peak, this is the best they can do, or do they have a little bit more of the sleeve?
Certainly, you got to think they've got something else. I mean, R.C. Enerson, we know that this driver's got the pace to be up front, but it's been a question of how well has the 50 learned throughout this race on how to save those tires for this last push here. Also want to give an update. I believe all of these drivers still have one set of tires to work with if we have another late caution. So fresh tires still in waiting for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, that would be another strategy decision I just wouldn't want to have to think about. If I'm these drivers, I want this thing to go green all the way.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of these guys up front are wanting. While if you're around 15th or 10th place, if a caution comes out, you still got to set in pit road. We already saw how fast you could see Frankenfield be early on. I mean, at the lap 50 when he came into the pits, how much faster he was than the rest of the field. Certainly an advantage to have if you're going to be coming into the pits. And looking at the lap times these drivers are putting down, the tires are going to be massive later on in this race if a caution comes out.
Yeah, certainly. My main concern for the front field is if they come down, how many drivers from, say, 15th on back room can gamble and stay out. That's why I'm saying they do not want to have to think about coming down pit road again.
And if Matthew Weeks makes another pass up to 3rd place, up to 4th place, excuse me.
Yeah.
This is a great charge by the 11 machine.
Up front, Muriel and Lutz is keeping it 1-2, super tight. Never have really been separated by more than a 10. I mean, they spend most of the time side by side.
I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to keep it close if you want a chance here at the end.
Yeah, back here, RC and Tyler Fode, they've got to be thinking they're letting this slip away by bad luck back here instead of trying to get back up front.
I mean, Tyler Fode, our winner from Daytona, he's wanting to make another statement here, but I mean, running back here and being challenged, it's not helping the 40 right now being stuck on the high side.
They keep it side by side down the backstretch too, and they're just going to be losing more and more time. Although we have seen all night that side by side battles doesn't seem to hurt you as much in pace as we would. Although as I say that, we got Chris Wright and Thomas Sherman correct?
We got a lot of traffic in front of our leaders. We've got ourselves Rucker as well as Nathan Bird. They're most likely going to get out of the way of our leaders, but both of them extremely off the pace. As our lead cars, they're side by side. This is a worst case scenario for our leaders as they finally go.
Smart thing.
Woo!
Smart
Yeah,
thing
you
and
did.
the right thing. Just get out of the way.
The question is, will Bird just go high, or will he just go on the apron? He's going to stay high.
Yeah, that's good. When you're as we say that.
Oh no! I mean, he needed to, I think, honestly, as a lap car, if you're in that scenario, if you're coming up to the lead cars are coming up to you, let off the gas a little bit. Try to just let your positioning fall even faster, quicker, so you're not in the way of any type of racing, because he's not racing for position, and already a couple of laps down and 6 laps down, so no one near and not going to be any chance of losing time for that 0-5.
Oh, I agree. When you're in the position Bird Rucker are in, the damaged car, your goal is to not be talked about on a broadcast. So sometimes they get, drivers getting away without meaning to as well. So I think that might have been Bird's case coming off the turn. He came down a little bit, cut it close. But all's well and ends well. We're still Beryl and Lutz 1-2 at the top here.
Chuck Sweeney now is going to be making the pass for 3rd place. Actually going to be hit by the lap car, excuse me. But race control is trying to tell the lap cars to get out of the way so they don't cause a wreck here late in this race, as we are coming up to 6 laps to go when they cross the line. I mean, Jordan, we're seeing our front 2 able to pull away. This is the biggest gap we've seen from the front 6 all race long. It's almost up to a second now.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if maybe they've been working together here a little bit, just drafting together to gap the field so they can fight this out amongst themselves.
I mean, they are certainly making a great run for themselves, great charge, and it's all worth it to be making this great of a run. Ethan Burrell, Ryan Lutz, both of them very strong at short track racing, and here at a 2-miler, I mean, this is massive for both of them just because of how strong they are at the shorter tracks that we are going to be coming up later on. Later on this season. I mean, we've got Iowa that's going to be coming up. I believe that's next week's race that these drivers are going to have to deal with, and both these drivers favorites.
Oh yeah. Well, in my mind, Grill and Lutz are about favorites everywhere we go. So, of course, that's me as a competitor talking. So.
Yeah. Gap still 0.8 seconds as another lap ticks away. 5 laps to go for these drivers. And that gap, it's slowly going down, but it's not going down fast enough. But they are almost inside of that draft zone where Chuck Sweeting will get the draft in the backstretch and the front stretch.
Yeah, it's possible if Grill and Lutz start battling this thing out, we could end up having another 8-car pack fighting this thing out. Just depends on if they're playing it smart together, knowing if they keep drafting like this, they can wait till, 2 laps to go. But if they start doing it right now, that pack's going to catch them.
Drivers that are having great runs so far. Chris Wright in 6th place, just kind of in wait mode and sit mode. We've already talked about Matthew Weeks in 4th place. Josh Robin is now just cracked into the top 10. And then you've also got Leininger.
Yeah, he's going for Knopf on Leininger right now.
I mean, this is the time to make your moves. And speaking of making your moves, thought for a second we were going to see a pass for the lead, as Ethan Burrell still holds on strong out front. It's coming across the line there. Oh my goodness, this is going to be chaotic when it comes to the end of this race. 3 laps to go.
Six more miles to decide this thing.
Chuck Sweeting trying everything in his power to get closer and possibly utilize the draft. And with the fact that Ryan Lutz is not as close as he was to Burrell, he's actually dropped back to possibly give a little bit of draft to Sweeting to try to pull along that giant group that we have from 3rd on back. But it's Ethan Burrell still running as strong as ever. And now, I mean, he's been up to 2/10. It looks like he's slowly trying to pull away from Ryan Lutz as we come to 2 laps to go.
Yeah, this is about the furthest way he's been from him, actually. That's a very good point.
Coming at it
still. Calm, cool, and smooth here. It's next lap and a half.
Ethan Burrell continuously is going to be just hitting his marks, run his lane, understand that he's been saving his tires for this moment to just pull away as we are coming into corner number 3. Ethan Burrell, Ryan Lutz, they are about 7/10 away from third place of Chuck Sweeting. Sweeting's too far back. It's between these 2 drivers coming out of 4 here for the SMRI Productions 160. Who's going to get done? Ethan Burrell, Ryan Lutz, white flag in the air.
Yeah, we'll see how deep Lutz wants to drive it into turn 1 here. Looks like he's staying in Burrell's tire track for the most part. Probably trying to set him up here on the backstretch.
Get as much momentum as you can coming out of the corner. It's within a 10th. It's within almost 2. Oh no, Burrell got the better exit. He's slowly pulling away. Ryan Lutz, final shot. He's going to throw it down into the white line. But no, he's there at the quarter panel. But he's not going to have the momentum out of the corner. He's got to go as high as possible, get as much speed as possible. But Ryan Lutz is not going to get it done. Ethan Burrell gets the win here for the SMRI Productions 160.
Yeah, that was a great finish. And that was great driving by Ethan Burrell to keep his cool there with all that pressure in the last 10 laps of the race.
Ethan Burrell, after a lot of hard fighting there, slowly, methodically, most of the race, had to work his way up, started 7th, got the win here. Ryan Lutz started 5th, got up to 2nd place, and then from, 3rd down to, I believe, 5th place. I mean, those are drivers that were outside the top 10, able to get a top 5 finish.
Yeah, honestly, from 3rd place on back to basically 8th, you could put a blanket over them.
Yeah, they were keeping it extremely close. I mean, the battle for 5th place, Fody tried his darndest, but came up 100 short, 100th of a second short from Chris Wright and breaking into the top 5.
Yeah, and it looks like Josh Robin, the highest he got all race, he managed to hold off Leininger there and keep him up. As we watch Ethan Burrell burn it down.
As Burrell's burning it down. I mean, Jordan, a solid day for this 37 machine. Just had to stay in his line, save those tires until it really mattered there at the end. And as he's finishing up this spurt.
He methodically worked his way up there, too. I mean, we watched at the start of the race how he just quietly, he was in 6th, and then the next time you looked, he was in 5th. And that's how it was until all of a sudden he was right there at 2nd, battling for the lead.
Incredible run for this 37 machine, and now we're going to do a quick rundown here of what the final results are unofficially. We'll see if any, throughout the week, if any penalties are going to be served, but it's out of the board. Ethan Burrell, great run for himself, and Ryan Lutz, Chuck Sweeting, Matthew Weeks, Chris Wright, Tyler Fody, R.C. Enerson, Thomas Sherman, Josh Robin, and Damian Leininger going to be your top 10.
And as we look, we got Hank Steinmiller in 11th, Vincent Isabella in 12th, Joseph Causey, Joshua Clark, Caleb Thompson, Nicholas Yemen, Tyler Riggs, Michael Daniel Martinez. Didn't talk about him all night. I think he quietly worked his way up there mid-pack. Gerald Campbell did great with a damaged car to keep it up in the top 20 and 19th, and Chad Frankenfield was only able to work his way back to 20th after his failed strategy attempt.
And then you got the rest of the field, Corey Abbott, Matt Nichols. These were drivers we really didn't talk about much. They were hard racing as well. It's just our front 6 were always on top of it. It was hard to look away from that action. Some of the notable names, though, that were back here in the 20th on back. I mean, Joshua Personette, one of those drivers I was expecting to have a better run here today. Jared Rexing, one of those drivers that kind of did a similar strategy of what Chad Frankenfield did, not as well as he did. Jeff Green in 31st place, Ethan Reasoner, and also Brandon King. Those were drivers that were caught up in incidences or even just tried strategies that just didn't work out.
And likewise for David Tooker, who got some damage from that wreck with Andrew Rucker as well. Normally those are guys we would see up in the top 10 battling it out. As we round out your 43 finishers for tonight. And I think we can fairly say it was just 42. Scott Crump never really got a chance with his internet.
Yeah, it really didn't work out for Crump at all for that chance for him to even have a possibility of a good run here today. As drivers are getting loaded in for interviews, we're going to do a quick commercial break here for Richmar Florist.
Richmar Florist makes every day a special day. From weddings and large events to that little something for any occasion. Richmar Florist has the perfect floral expression, and they're open online 24/7 at richmarflorist.com. Everywhere, every day. Richmar's 2 retail locations offer a fantastic selection of floral creations, gifts, and home decor.
Am I muted?
Book your free consultation in our showroom for your special event needs, and visit us online at richmarflorist.com today.
And we're back here after watching that commercial. Richmar Florist, huge florist company that has just been helping out and breaking into the racing side of things, sponsoring, helping out companies. They are an amazing group of people and amazing sponsors to have for us. As it looks like we do have our top 3 in the waiting, and we'll be bringing in Chuck Sweeting up into the booth for some interviews. Chuck, it's Sam and Jordan up at the booth. You got us?
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going all right up here. Got to see some amazing racing action. That first half of the race was certainly different from those final 20 laps. What was going through your mind there in those final 5 laps when you saw the front 2 kind of pull away and you weren't able to catch up to them?
Yeah, I was kind of saving a little bit, and I did start to catch them toward the end, but it was just too late. It needed a little bit longer run for me. I was pretty good on the long runs, but I don't know. It was a tricky setup. It's hard to get the nose to set, and then when you did, then it would be loose on throttle, and I don't know. It took a lot of work. I'm sweating a little bit after that one, but overall, good race.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a lot of work on your part. And talk about the first half of the race, how you had to go through the traffic.
Yeah, it's tough, when you get a pass on somebody. A lot of times they can cross you over really easy on this track and come back, and unfortunately that slows you both down and wears both your tires out more. But it's racing, and you just kind of have to pick where you can pass them and try to be able to stay in front of them for another half a lap, and then you can move on to the next guy. But it's tough. It's a lot of fun though.
And Jordan, you got any questions here for Chuck?
Chuck, you kind of methodically made your way through the field there, and I feel like after the first pit stop, out of nowhere, you was, in the top 5 battling it out. You had a great pit stop, obviously, but from, battling back in the 10th to 15th area to being, up there in the top 5, was there any differences in how you were trying to set drivers up?
A little bit. I think I just progressively got better as the race went on too. I found a better line, a little bit more speed each lap, and I think some of the other guys might have been driving it in too deep and getting tight. So not really sure, but yeah, I definitely improved throughout the race. So that had a lot to do with it. But I just want to thank SMRI Productions, C2 Freight, and Richmar Florist while I have a chance here. They do a lot for this league, so I really appreciate their help.
Yeah, I mean, Chuck, that was the next thing I was going to go to. Any other sponsors or thanks you've got?
Just me, so just everybody that helps the league. It's really appreciated. It's a lot of fun.
Chuck Sweeting able to get a 3rd place finish here in that 75 car. A great run there, Chuck, and good luck next week.
Thanks a lot, guys.
And now we'll be bringing in 2nd place. Came up just a little bit short, and that's going to be Ryan Lutz. Ryan, it's Sam and Jordan up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, Ryan, you certainly had a very fast car. You were duking it back and forth with almost everyone that was up front. But with those final 5 laps, what was going through your mind when you were trying to set up that 37 machine?
Really trying to fix my 1 and 2. He really was beating me through 1 and 2. I don't know if he was using a little bit more brake than me and getting it to set right, but every time my car set, it was too late from him getting back to the throttle. So we were losing about a car length off 2 every time, and then I would make it back in 3 and 4, and it was just a repeated process. I was just trying to get the line down in 1 and 2, and we didn't really find it, and I figured just try to find something in 3, and we fired it in there, but he was able to pull us off the corner and beat us in line. But it was all in all a good run for us.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan, you were up front. You got to lead a couple of laps and following. What were some of those major differences when you had that fresh air compared to when you were in the draft?
Yeah, it was weird. It was like when you were out front, the car handled so good, but it would just burn the tires off like no other. It played almost a mind game on you. You're like, am I going too hard? Am I not going hard enough? Are they, why are they killing me down the straightaway? Is it the draft? You really got yourself mind messed up when you're leading, and it was really tough to manage the air. I think if we did it over, I wish I was in Ethan's spot versus my spot, but I mean, we'll take 2nd. It's definitely a good run.
And Jordan, any questions on your end?
Well, you really answered my questions about the draft as opposed to being in single file and, being side by side with someone. But, Do you wish you had one more lap?
Yeah, you always wish you had one more when you're second, but I think I found something that last lap. Maybe we could have had something for him. Ethan ran a mistake-free race, and I was really waiting for him to, I don't know, get free in the center one time, a little free off to get a run like Fody was doing. But I mean, he ran a mistake-free night, and it definitely played. It's so hard to win these elite races, so to get one at Michigan's a big deal for him. So I'm happy for him.
Right on. Well,
Yeah, one more question for you, Ryan. Or Jordan, you got another one?
No, go ahead, Sam.
Ryan, I mean, we're going to Iowa next week. What's going through your mind going to that short track?
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, you always look so great at short tracks. It's exciting to see. But before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I just got to thank Michael Goodman and Mrs. Goodies Goodies. They came on board this year. Their Xfinity program, and I missed last week because we were COVID positive and we were on our deathbed last week. I thought I was going to die, but it feels good. We're back 100%. So it sucks that we missed last week, but it's definitely a good way to rebound, finish P2 and lead laps. Just thanks to everyone at Lake Norman Motorsports. We're a big team, a big family. Congrats to Ethan. Thanks to Chad, you, Sam, you, Jordan. You guys do an awesome broadcast. My girlfriend's watching, so just it's so cool to come out here on these Mondays, run these Xfinity cars, and just have fun.
Yeah, Ryan, we're happy that you are doing well as well. But you're going to come out with a second place finish in that 36 machine. But we're going to Iowa, and good luck next week.
Thanks, man. Can't wait.
And then we got the man that, like we heard from Ryan, almost ran a perfect race and got the win at the end. We find ourselves with Ethan Burrell. Ethan, it's Sam and Jordan up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
We heard from Ryan. It seemed like you had a perfect race, but from your point of view, how did this race go?
Oh man, it was a great race. I started in the top 10, and that first green run we had, I was just focused kind of on the long run, and I wasn't exactly sure what kind of speed I had, but I mean I started picking guys off and got up there into that battle for the lead, and but man, I tell you what, Ryan Lutz, man, he kept me honest. I mean, I was just giving it everything I had every single lap of that last run, and he was right there the whole time. So, big respect to Ryan Lutz for the way we raced tonight.
Yeah, and Ethan, I mean, we saw that it was really looking like it was going to turn into a one pit stop race here today, and it kept on changing from where that 40 lap marker was going to be at. But with 20 laps to go there at the end for that final shootout, what was going through your mind? Was it tire saving for the whole entire run, or did you feel like, hey, I can go a little bit harder here during this stint?
Yeah, it was interesting, but I'm thankful for how things played out with the timing of the cautions, because I was kind of every run I'd start stressing out about what I was going to do for my pit call. If I was going to split the race in half, or if the whole thing ran green, maybe 2 pit stops. So thankfully, with how the yellows fell, I didn't really have to worry about the pit strategy. But I mean, that last 20 lap shootout, you really want to do the best you can to save tires, especially in the first few laps of the run. So I feel like maybe the first 2 or 3 laps, once I got cleared out to the lead, I might have been able to save just a little bit, but otherwise, I mean, I was just flooring that thing, and thankfully it didn't fall off bad enough.
And Jordan, any final questions here?
Yeah, Ethan, that last 15 laps, really, you basically were, a tenth and a half ahead of Lutz there. And, I feel like that's more of like a pressure cooker situation, and you just kept your cool. How much were you actually looking in the mirror as opposed to out the windshield? Was you doing any mirror driving or just trying to focus on hitting your marks?
Yeah, it's a greite question, Jordan. I was losing my mind on the inside that whole last run, man. There's, I've been in this series, and Litz has been in this series for a long time, and there's been so many times where you think you got it, and then Ryan Lutz somehow gets you at the end. So I mean, I was in the mirror, I was sweating bullets. I mean, he was just close enough, to be just about on my bumper coming into those turns. So I knew I had to play defense, but You know, I've been so close so many times. I think I was trained up just enough this time to somehow keep it cool there. But yeah, you're right. You're right though. I mean, it's all about the pressure that they're putting on behind you for sure.
Right.
Well, Ethan, you guys certainly put on a show for us, and it was exciting to watch. But before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Sam, for coming on with us here. I have not won an elite race since you were around with us, so maybe you were a good omen for me tonight. And just the whole Pro Edge Racing team. I mean, these guys are one of the best teams out here and do such a good job supporting me and all of us supporting each other out on the track. And shout out to my fiance Rachel, who's riding along with me here, and my grandma's watching, and just all my friends and family for tuning in, and this and David Tucker Designs for sponsoring the car. We had a hot rod out here today, and just thanks to everybody in this elite organization and Ryan Lutz for a great battle tonight.
Well, Ethan, we'll see if I can come back and be that omen for you once again. But a great run here, winning here at Michigan for the SMRI Productions 160. And good luck next week at Iowa.
All right, thank you, boys.
Well, Jordan, as we're winding down here, I mean, what a race that was. I mean, they kept it exciting for up front for the whole entire race, it seemed like.
Yeah, I feel like, for a solid 80 laps of the race, the top 8 were within a second, and the draft wasn't really, having a great effect of letting anyone get too far away from each other, and it just provided some phenomenal racing throughout the entire field.
Yeah, and as we're, again, coming to a close, again, major thanks to all of our sponsors that help Elite Racing League, and especially here for the SMRI Productions Grand National Series. You got SMRI Productions, C2 Freights, as well as Richmar Florist, Hope Givers International, and as always, our replays of Storytune Sports Podcast. Thank you so much to all of our great, amazing sponsors that we have for this league. But Jordan, next week, Iowa for the Bird Iowa 150. It's going to be short track racing. A mile length is that course, but it's going to get interesting with short tempers and a short track.
Yeah, we're going to gear it up and switch over to doing a little door banging instead. Should be interesting to see who comes out with something to prove. I have a feeling we're going to be looking at maybe having another Ryan Lutz, Ethan Brill showdown.
We might just see that. And it is going to be exciting to see, once again, same time, same place next week. And Ethan Burrell, what a fabulous run that he had here today for the SMRI Productions 160. Second race of the season. It's only just begun, and it's going to get better and better as we move forward. But Jordan, I want to say thank you for allowing me to be up in the booth for today's race. We'll see if I can come back for another one, but thanks again.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, Sam. You've really helped us out a lot. I definitely couldn't have been able to do this by myself. So it's been a great evening of racing, and I think we had a good time calling it.
Yeah, it certainly was. And thank you, everyone, for watching here on the Elite Racing Network. It has been a pleasure to be finally on my first broadcast up here, and I'm excited to see what comes in the future. But for myself, Sam Dyer, and for Jordan Owens, thank you so much for watching tonight's race, and we'll see you next week.